Arcade Heroes.
Greetings everyone, it's Adam at ArcadeHeroes.com, and I still haven't got a replacement webcam for my desktop here, so it's just the picture, but that's no biggie. I've got some news here about Godzilla Kaiju Wars VR by Raw Thrills. Now, I've been asked almost every month since this game came out in March of this year when the new chapters would be launching, and we do have some news on that. Although, just in case you've never heard of this game, just coming across it for the first time, or maybe you've played it but you don't know the details behind it, or you thought the game was a little bit short. So when it shipped out earlier this year, it only came with 2 chapters, as it calls it, 2 levels. But Raw Thrills was promising that there would be a total of 5, and that the additional 3 chapters would be released at some time later, but that they would be free for the venue, the arcade that purchased the game. But as I mentioned, I have not heard anything about them until JDevi on the Arcade Heroes Discord server just so happened to notice that, or at least yesterday, don't know when these might have been uploaded, that Thrills put up some new screenshots here that include elements that are definitely not from the first 2 chapters. Now, there are a couple here that were from the previous chapters, like this one here, and this one here. But as you can see, this right here, we have Gigan Attack. It mentions the name of the file at the bottom there, so that, I guess that tells us basically what the name of the chapter is. And so now, I'm not an expert on Godzilla lore. I mean, I've watched several of the movies, but I've not really watched much of the classic ones, and I don't recall all the names of the different kaiju that Godzilla faces off. So I don't know which one this is. You can let me know in the comments below. I would just assume a Gigan or something, although I know there's the Zillions that attack from space as well, so perhaps they're involved somehow. But and that might be these guys right here in this shot, which is also from that same level, Gigan Attack, that shows these kind of bird-like spacecraft attacking. Now, the human helicopter over there, that's the type of vehicle that you're in within this game. And as I mentioned before, if you haven't played this, it's kind of like Sega's Gunblade NY, where you're being piloted in a gunship, but it's all on rails, and you have these awesome chain guns to blast things with. So I assume that you're blasting those spaceships right there in this case. Now, whether this one is Chapter 3, 4, or 5, I have no idea. I did reach out to Raw Thrills for comment, but they had nothing to say for now. So we'll see. I can't recall if Manda Mayhem was Chapter 1 or 2. That was previous released. It looks like it was. Or Mega Gyrius Invasion there. I mean, this one seems familiar too. From before, and this one definitely was. So yeah, these 2 would definitely be from the current chapters that are there. But then we have River Assault, which has one of these monsters, one of these kaiju, I should say, on it. And I assume you're fighting mostly on the river on this one. But that's the only screenshot from this particular level, so that's all we get in this case. And this kaiju is obviously different, a little more complex than the other river creatures that you had come across in chapters 1 or 2 or both. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played this game. But then for the last chapter, we have Tokyo Onslaught. Now, in chapters 1 and 2, there are these mechanized enemies that you have to fight, and they do take a little bit of a pounding there. I don't, again, know what they're called. But then there is this one, I at least know this, and that's Mecha Godzilla will appear finally in Godzilla Kaiju Wars VR. And I assume be a boss battle that you have to fight, at least in the Tokyo Onslaught chapter. So, that's basically it for now. Since Raw Thrills hasn't officially announced these, hasn't confirmed when they're coming. I can only make an educated guess now. A little over a month from when I'm recording this, it's October 10th today, but on November 19th is when there is a giant trade show happening down in Orlando called IAAPA. And it's essentially the E3 of arcades. It's the largest trade show that involves arcade gaming, amusements, theme parks that takes place every year the week before Thanksgiving. And as I mentioned before, at IAAPA 2023, that's when Godzilla Kaiju Wars VR debuted. And then it would make sense that with IAAPA coming up this close, that this is when they will debut the new levels. But again, they could just show one level, they could show all three, I'm not sure. It just depends on how far along they are. But I'll be there at the show to get some footage as well as play the games, and we'll find out for sure, as well as being able to talk to Raw Thrills. However, I should also add, I'm going to be in Chicago next week for Pinball Expo, and I've reached out to Eugene Jarvis, and I need to follow up, but I'd really like to take the opportunity to go and visit Raw Thrills' headquarters, so I might be able to get some answers there too, but I would just love to go and check it out without doing any news sorts of things at all. But anyways, that's the news for now on Godzilla Kaiju Wars VR. Stay tuned for a lot more arcade news as we approach IAAPA. Since it is such a big trade show, this is usually when every single arcade developer holds their major games back that are going to be launching in the coming year, and so there's going to be a lot of news, and so it'll just depend. We don't know when we're going to get the news. It'll just happen sometime before IAAPA or during IAAPA. But let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next video.